I'm very excited to be joined by Pete Ohs, who is an American multi-hyphenate filmmaker in the truest sense, a writer, director, producer, cinematographer, editor. He's known for his inventive, low-budget, genre-bending features that have become fixtures on the U.S. indie festival circuit, including the hybrid documentary I Send You This Place, the desert sci-fi fable Everything Beautiful is Far Away, the horror satire Jethica, his recent workplace comedy drama Love and Work, and the new film, which I've just learned how to pronounce with a Polish accent, Erupcja, which we were mispronouncing Erupcja, in case that's what people read when they see it, which is playing at New Directors New Films in New York City, April 11th and 12th. Thank you so much for being here, Pete.
Happy to be here.
Ted and I, who you just met, and it was so fun to talk to you before this interview, we're both filmmakers, and we often talk filmmaking at breakfast, well, pretty much all day long into the night, and as well as questions of how to have a creative life in this chaotic and ever-changing world. So we look for new models for work and life and study and examine prior movements. And your way of working is particularly exciting to us. And if you could take us through your path to this new film, Erupcja. No, that wasn't the right pronunciation. How do I say it again?
Erupcja.
Erupcja, all the films that came before and how this became your method, which feels
Mhm.
like a really amazing articulation of long live cinema in the purest form. You've said that your way of working now is partly a rejection or a reaction to this not fun first feature film experience, which had a bigger budget. How did you arrive at this new moment?
Yeah, so I'm a kid from Ohio. I didn't have parents or in the creative fields. I have creative parents, but not in the creative fields. And really was just a kid with a video camera, borrowing his parents' video camera or friends' parents' video camera, making videos with friends as a hobby. This was in the 90s. This is before there was YouTube. If there was YouTube, probably we would have been uploading them, but at the time all we were doing was making the videos and then going down to the basement to watch them together again. This was like my favorite thing to do, favorite hobby. Um, and but I didn't go to film school. I was never really aspiring to be a director, actually. I wasn't some, like, little Spielberg kid. I was just making videos with my friends, and I ended up going to a liberal arts college, studying computer science, still doing videos as a work study job and as my hobby, but still not fully recognizing that that could be a career path. My senior year, that clicked with thanks to, like, a mentor, thanks to our one of our advisors in the video program, pointed out that, like, "Oh, I could have a job as an editor, as a videographer at a production company," so that's what I then did. I did not use my computer science degree. I went straight into a small television production company in Cincinnati, Ohio, was doing that for a few years, making music videos, eventually just naturally worked my way up within myself to the point where, like, "Oh, I wanna try to make a feature film now." It just felt like a gradual progression, but still was very much outside the system, didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
Sort of like manifested this feature hybrid documentary that got into one cool film festival, Full Frame. Each little increment was just enough to like keep me going, along with the fact that this is what I was enjoying doing.
Yeah.
The next progression, just based on what I was observing from the world, was to write a film script and try to get that made. And as I'm trying to get it made, I'm also like learning what that even means to get it made. We miraculously get cool cast attached. We don't really even know what that means to be attached. Each thing we thought like, oh, I guess we make a movie now. And then months later, like movie not happen yet. And then you get producers and like, okay, so now we make the movie and then all that stuff until like a year and a half later, you're like finally shooting the movie. And you're like, again, but this is new to me. I know this is not new to other people who have done that, but this is like my first time doing it. And then we shoot that movie. It's a almost $200,000 budget. That's a lot of money to me. I'm keep being told that's not a lot of money for a movie. We make this feature film with a 20-ish person crew, a 20-ish day shoot, big and small. It's in that in between zone. Really proud of that movie. It stars in pre-Ozark Julia Garner. Like all these magical things were there. And I was certainly dreaming in my mind or imagining in my mind that I was gonna live the dream. I was going to premiere at Sundance. My life was going to change. The golden gates to heaven were going to open, and I was going to get to walk through and happily ever after. And then you don't get into Sundance, and you don't get into those big festivals, and that film ended up premiering at Los Angeles Film Festival, which no longer exists, but was a good film festival, but still
Yep.
is in, like, not
Great
exactly
programmers. Yep. Yep.
great festival, great programmers connected to
Yep.
film independent, all these really good things, but you're having to, like, recalibrate the dream.
Mhm.
Like, you have that, and you're like, "Okay, so I didn't get, like, launched from that project. Like, what does that mean now? What does that mean about what I've done?"
Yeah.
And for me, that film, that first feature took, like, 7 years from just, like, having the idea to then making it. And then it didn't, like, really instantly light switch change my life.
Mhm.
And it made me question, like, okay, 7 years, that was a long time for what came of it, which is, like, not a lot of joy, really,
Yeah. Yeah.
for 7 years. Like, certainly some bits and pieces, but I was like, I don't know if that was a adequate, like, return on investment of my time in my life.
It's so much waiting. I mean, so much of it when you speak of attachments with cast or waiting on producers or waiting on your financing, and you've already got the script and the idea and you're ready to go 7 years ago. It's a frustrating process.
It can be really frustrating as I would complain, share about this experience to other people, other filmmakers. The thing I would hear, or I remember hearing, although this is years ago now, but I remember hearing that, the reason it wasn't as, like, enjoyable is because you only had $200,000 and you needed 2,000,000. And I, as this kid from Ohio, I'm like, I don't even know really how we got $200,000. I don't have another person waiting to give me that money. How am I gonna get $2,000,000? Still, this is what people are sort of telling me to do. So then I read another script, I make another pitch deck, I start sending emails, I try to get meetings with production companies and producers, and I'm having those meetings, and they're sort of into the script, but sorta not, and I'm leaving those meetings, and I'm like, "They didn't like it." I'm like, "But they weren't even cool." Like, why do I care what these people are saying? But, like, I have to care because I need this thing from them, and it just wasn't fun, and I felt myself going down the same path that I had already gone down that I know I didn't really enjoy, and so I
Yeah.
stopped, and I remember I was walking on Sunset Boulevard back from a coffee shop, another day of, like, working where you're sending emails and revising, like, lookbooks or whatever, and I was like, "Why am I doing this? Like, why am I actually doing this?" And for me, the reason I was doing it was because I loved making videos with my friends when I was 15,
Yeah.
and I thought, "Why can't I do that now?" Even though I'm a supposedly 30 whatever year old professional filmmaker, like, can I make a film like I would've if I was 15? And I recognized that nobody like, only I would stop myself from doing that. So that's where this, like, new process came, this new way of making movies, which is just, like, make every decision the way you would have made it if you were 15. And so all this stuff is like, would I have a budget if I was 15 when I was 15? No. Would I have producers? No. Would I have permits? No. Would I have a script? No. I would have a camera and some friends, and we would just go have fun, we'd make stuff up, we'd try to make each other laugh, and we would do it until it was time to eat pizza, is, like, the
Amazing.
story I do
Amazing.
it. So, like, that was, like, the experiment I wanted to try, and so as I was even moving towards that film, um, which was this movie called Youngstown. It was just made by me, like, the main shoot was just me and 2 actors, 2 friends, all as small as it could be, all trying to just be just for fun, and even as I was moving towards going to shoot it, like, a month out, I still felt bad. I still felt like, "This is stupid, this is a waste of my time, this is gonna be terrible," and that's where this, like, metaphor came from that I have been saying a lot, which is a table of bubbles. It was like, this film, this experience is a table made of bubbles. It cannot support anything. Do not put anything on it. Do not put, like, a plate on it, it would just fall through, that's not what it's for. So don't put your hopes, your dreams, your budgets, your expectations on this thing, just appreciate it for the magical object that it is, and that is all centered around the, like, belief and experience that pressure does not help creativity, it doesn't help enjoyment, and so, like, essentially let go. It becomes, like, almost, like, very Buddhist in a way.
Yeah. That's
Like, these things
beautiful.
are table of the bubbles, keep that in your mind as you're moving through every aspect of making the movie, try to remember that, like, this is supposed to be for fun, this is just supposed to be enjoyed. If it's too hard, not that I like working hard, but if it feels like you're having to force it, it's not worth it. Like, protect the bubbles, you know?
I love it, and you've repeated this method a few times now to where we're talking about this amazing new film we just watched, Erupcja,
Mhm.
right?
Right.
So how yeah, tell me.
Well, so after that first movie, even, like, as we were leaving the Airbnb where we stayed, before I've even, like, edited the footage together, I was like, "That was too much fun to not do every year." Like, even if it didn't result in a movie, I don't care, like, just that 2-week vacation of play with these friends is just such a rewarding, fulfilling experience that I'm gonna do this again no matter what. Next year was 2020, so the pandemic got in the way. But then 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024, I've just done another one and done another one. And I like to challenge myself. I like to try new things. And I like to make sure that there's some sort of progression, whether internally or externally, on my life and my projects. And so they each have nicely progressed in
Wow,
some way, and such that now I have made a movie the exact same way as I made that first movie, but it just happens to star Charlie XCX. It happens to have been filmed in Poland, and it happens to be having its New York premiere at the new director's new films at MoMA and Lincoln Center.
that's so great. That's
Yeah.
so exciting. So let's talk about this film with Charlie XCX that's premiering at New Directors, New Films in MoMA.
Mhm.
It's been called a kind of you've called it like a volcanic experiment in Warsaw, and you made it with a tiny crew over 2 weeks, and it's like an anti-romantic comedy, would you say? And also feels like a story about artists and risk and blowing up your life, and where was the spark of that story for you?
The way all these movies get made is that it does start with a location. If you've made things, made films, you can skip ahead of so many logistical problems just by starting with locations that you actually have access to, and that ideally you also need to be inspired by.
Yeah.
So I was just living in Warsaw at the time. I had been living there for almost a year and wanted to make a movie in this place that I lived. I also saw this cool opportunity to make a foreign film. Like I always like to do some sort of genre experiment, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I can make a movie that gets to have subtitles. That's exciting and fun." And then so much also of the way that I make these things is it's all just about using your resources, putting yourself in a sandbox and then only playing with the sand that is in that box.
Yeah.
So it's like Warsaw is that, and then my collaborators become that as well. So like Jeremy O'Harris, I had just made a feature with the previous year. Will Madden's an actor who had been in two of my films before, so I always like to bring back people who already know the process because it is quite new and different, and that can be disorienting for people.
Mhm.
And then Lena Gora was this cool actress I had met who is from Poland, but also has this really nice like Poland American existence where like some of her like a big chunk of her formative years were in the United States, and she had made a movie in English in America that I had met when it screened at a film festival in Poland. So all these like nice serendipitous things around. And then, like, 3 months before I had already, like, decided I was gonna make a movie in August in Warsaw, not knowing what it was gonna be. And then I met Charlie just randomly at a bar in New York when I was hanging out with Jeremy, and I described this process that I just described to you, and that was really exciting for her to her. We didn't really know it. I didn't know it. Not only that Brat was about to happen because it was pre-Brat, but also that she was interested in acting, that was wanting to, like, expand this area of her creative expression in the world of film. And so it was just like a project that aligned so nicely for all of us.
Yeah.
And that's a thing I really like when you're not forcing things, you're just sort of open to the offerings of the universe
Yes.
and you're ready for them and you move towards them with intention as they present
Yes.
themselves.
Yeah.
And that can just create a really exciting, thrilling, and kinda natural, organic way to create, to experience. It lets you not feel precious about things because it's not that you spent years on this script. It's not that you
Or tons of
spent
money.
all this money and time and money. That both these resources that make it
Yeah.
harder to let go of something, when it's
Yeah.
not working. And so by keeping things light, it allows you to be, like, literally nimble and also creatively nimble, and that is the strength of making these movies in a small way. Like, you can't make every movie requires its own approach, essentially. If a movie's gonna
Mhm.
have a bunch of dangerous stunts and explosions, then you better make sure that's safe. But if your, like, big risk is creative, then the safety is a different kind of safety. It needs to be that there's not a lot at stake.
Mhm.
That's how you can then allow yourself and your collaborators to feel empowered to take those risks, to make those leaps, is that I literally tell them it's okay if we don't make a movie. So little is being spent as if we just have a really meaningful 2-week adventure together, then that's fine. Then that's like our baseline. If a movie is on top of that, the movie's actually the icing.
Wow, that is incredible. That's such a Smart, fun way to look at it. Such a brilliant way to look at the creative process and what you can do. I also heard that in that infamous bar meeting, Jeremy O'Hara's was talking you up. So you had worked together, he loved your work, and he talked you up to Charlie
Yeah,
XCS. So cool.
yeah.
So how you were saying you build it now, you don't go in with a fully preconceived or written script, and you're building it with your act. How did that look on this new film?
It looked as you describe, it looked the same as on all the other movies. With each film and it's funny as, like, as the films have kinda gotten bigger with more eyes on them, I've also sort of, like, challenged myself to have less and less like, preparation. Like, you would think, like, "Okay, you should be more prepared," but with each film, I'm kinda like, "What how little can I get away with?" Like, that's also one of the theories, like, I like to test. So in the first movie, there was, like, a full outline, and then the next one was, like, there was, like, a outline and a half, and at this point, it's, like, at least half of an outline, but that's all. The outline, it's as simple as they arrive at the Airbnb, like, that's one scene, and then she goes on a walk, scene 2. It's like that basic of stuff. And there's lots of reasons there's lots of reasons for basically, like, everything I do. I try to have, like, everything be wearing multiple hats, not just me, but, like, my collaborators and, like, the decisions being made.
'Cause you just in that simple description, say, of the first 2 scenes, I already know, having seen your incredible film, how much is actually going on in those scenes. Whether you're talking about Charlie and her boyfriend, it's Will Madden, did you say is his
Mhm,
name?
mhm.
Yeah. And their interaction, which the way it played for me and I read them as a couple absolutely played out. It was, like, hinted perfectly. If you had written it in the script, you couldn't have written it better for the way the story unfolds and their relationship plays out. Because it felt just a little cringe, like there was more love coming from him than her,
Mhm,
and she needed to get away and take that walk.
yeah.
She knew more about Warsaw, and then we later understand she chose it. And that walk is very meaningful, and you shoot it in really interesting ways. So I wonder, again, in your process, as you've said, you're wearing so many hats. You're really the only person shooting it, and you're thinking about it from all of these different angles at once?
I mean, I'm shooting it, I'm eventually the editor.
Yeah,
I have shot lots of things, not just my own things, but when I first moved to LA, one of my ways of paying rent was doing behind the scenes videos of music videos and commercials,
fun.
and just I got more and more efficient at the shots I would get, knowing what angles are good, what communicates what, and I'm always in dialogue with myself as the editor, where if, like, I try as the cameraman to not shoot shots that my editor doesn't want, like, 'cause it makes my life easier when I'm eventually editing the film, and so just, like, that sort of, like, rinse and repeat makes me more and more efficient at these things.
Yeah.
The
It's practice. It's
It's practice,
practice
it's
and
practice.
love.
Mhm,
Yeah. And then knowing the different aspects of the art form, basically.
mhm. And you learn, like, by doing it a bunch, by practicing, you learn the tricks, you learn what works, you learn what doesn't, just by doing it a bunch of times. The journey from the Airbnb to the flower shop, I just did that in real life one day and just paid attention to what things I responded to. So then when we were there and we just did it again, but now I have Charlie with me. I'm like, "Stand here, walk past this, see this cool blue, like, glass thing? There's, like, a thing we can do with that."
So you walk through as an actor too. So you're in their shoes all the time too.
Right. I'm trying to, like, have everything be kinda method. That's also one of the cool things that comes from, like, shooting the story in order is that you really get to just be experiencing the story in real time and the movie in real time, so like, physically can respond to the kinds of shots we've been doing. We've been doing a lot of close-ups. We wanna feel something else. It's been too much close-ups for too long. We haven't done this kinda move in a while. We haven't done this kinda move in a while, and you just know that naturally. You don't actually have to plan for it. You just have to stay present and you will continuously feel it. The
Mhm.
reason, like, I don't write scripts is not that I'm anti-script, it's that I'm trying to be really, really efficient, so who needs the script? You write a script. Who actually needs the script? My collaborators don't. Like, they are down to not have it. I don't need it. We don't need to present it to the financiers, who often that's who you really need to provide it to, because 'cause they're like, "What am I putting this money towards?" We don't have those, and like, that's then let's not do it, and that can be scary, and it can be like, "What happens if you don't?" And it's like, let's find out. The stakes are low enough that it's okay. There's also a very long creative process to filmmaking that is not just the shoot. The storytelling continues in the
Mm,
edit, continues in the sound design. There are a million tricks that can keep happening. It's not like fixing it in post, it's just keep making the movie in
yeah,
post.
yeah,
And many of the things that don't make sense on the day, or you didn't properly connect, you will have ways later to connect them. It'll make it seem like you knew what you were doing the whole time,
yeah.
but you don't need to. And the idea that other people do on these big movies that have scripts is a lie. They don't
Mm,
either. Like, they s and if they go through the process as if they do, I think that's what results in the movies that I don't even like, because they stop, engaging through every step of the process and bringing more and
yeah.
more ideas.
Yeah. So your metaphor was so evocative. I kind of want to go back to the table made of bubbles. And I don't mean to overload it, but I wonder whether you think about the different bubbles also including the contributions of your collaborators. Because I'm
Mm,
curious how they had these negotiations or conversations with you each day about what their character was going to do and say and where they were gonna walk and how, and give me an example of one of your collaborators contributing to all of that, your actors.
it all It all is happening simultaneously, and even, like, the idea, the outline, that outline came to exist via conversations with them. The idea for the whole movie came from conversations with them. It's all happening together so that they are on board, they are already having input for everything, like, they are naming their characters, they are coming to understand who their character is at the same time I am, as this like, ultimately, as the same time kinda the audience is too.
Wow. Wow.
So, like
You
so
realize, by the way, every single actor in Los Angeles and New York, wherever they are actually, is listening to you say this, and they're like, "How can I meet Pete Ohs? How can I become one of his collaborators? How can I make a movie with him?"
I
I'm
know.
sure.
It's the
Um,
best way. And so like, literal way it looks like is you shoot 3 scenes a day. No, you like, we know what the first half of the movie is roughly gonna be. It always changes by, like, day 3 in, like, meaningful but medium-sized ways, often not, like, huge ways where it's the whole movie has changed, like, you can't go that far, but there will be changes. And then the things we're engaging with are just, like, dialogue, which you just do. You do it the night before, you do it the morning of. I do a first draft of it. I'm just typing that into the notes app on my phone. You can text that to the group text, and then everyone has that note on their phone, and it's collaborative. So as I update it, it updates. If they want to add to it, they can too. And so it just becomes this like breakfast meeting, writer's room, where we're both eating breakfast. We are writing the script. We're also rehearsing it, because this is them, going through the lines as well, having their input, such that by the time we finish breakfast, we have like our shooting script, and they already like have an intimate understanding of the motivations for why their characters would say these things. Often we're also writing, and this is the best when it can happen, but you're writing and conceiving of those scenes basically in the locations where you're going to shoot. So
yeah.
then, like, there's already an understanding of kind of like roughly what the blocking is going to be. We're already just starting so much further down the line of creative decisions that need to get figured out. That just makes the eventual
Amazing.
shooting that much more fluid and that much more natural.
And I noticed in the credits of your film, all of these actors, don't they also have producing credits? Like, they are your producers, they're producing with you, or they have more than one credit, I would say, almost all of
I
them.
mean, they all have more than one credit. I mean, they're also writers.
Yeah.
Jeremy's a producer as well. He
Okay.
produced the previous movie as well, and then Charlie's a producer as well. Like, a big part of Charlie being a producer is just, like, she's a massive star, so she, like, has that kinda, like, value to bring to it.
Yeah.
The 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 thing I also think about as far as, like, the table of bubbles and just what we're is, like, trying to be aware of what I'm asking for from different people. That's also the reason why the shoots are only 2 weeks long, because it's, like, enough time to make a short but feature film, and it's a short enough time that basically anyone could fit it into their life. Even if they are a international pop star, they can slot in 2 weeks. If they are, a caterer in LA, they also can get time off and not lose their job for 2
Yep.
weeks. And then
Yep.
that just, again, sort of, like, makes it like, it's not putting too much pressure on their real lives.
Yeah.
that not too much is at stake just to go and have this experiment, to go and play, and to go do something that might not result in anything, but also might result in something really cool and life-changing.
I actually this just popped into my head, but now that you've had this successful rhythm of one of these movies a year, are you being approached by investors who are like, "Oh, let me get involved with your process," and are you rejecting financial offers, or will you, or how do you handle that?
We have rejected some financial offers because part of it's like more money, more problems, like help doesn't
Yeah,
always help.
right.
Don't be greedy, also
Yep.
like try to be lean and see what
Yeah.
you get away with.
Wait, so how are you making a living? So this isn't how you're making a living?
No, not at all.
No.
I'm a freelance editor.
Right.
I live very frugally. I don't take vacations.
Yep.
The
The movie
filmmaking
is your vacation.
and then
Yeah.
and then if you do a good job of it, you get to go to film festivals, and that becomes a vacation too.
Totally
Um
how we look at it too. That's our life too. Okay, so where can we add to all that you're sharing? Like, honestly, it is so inspiring hearing you speak and knowing that you're having so much joy in the process and you're so creative and so collaborative and so productive. And by taking the weight and the pressure off, you enable better work. If you were going to advise young filmmakers or any filmmakers of any age really who are watching this and stuck and feeling like they want to make movies in that regular way too, what would you advise them?
No, it's not the first time I've had this question. I think often we all are sort of asking each other these types of questions of just like, what advice? What are you learning? Like, what like useful thing have you brought back to like the village for us to make our lives better? One of the things that I know I thought about a lot as kind of move going down this like one man band approach is the awareness of like that's what all this tech has been for. Like that's why we can edit on a laptop. That's why these cameras that shoot like the camera I'm shooting on is from 2012. It's like cameras have been good enough for like a long time, and the accessibility of that means something different. It means that like the movies shouldn't be made the way they were before. It maybe means that filmmaking can be more like a hobby in a way that can be good, in a way that I think more people should make movies. We don't all need to see everyone's movies. Everyone doesn't need to see my movie, but like the good that can come for like for humanity of just more people getting together without an ego, but with creativity, with empathy, and explore stories and learn things, and maybe stumble across something that should be shared with more, but maybe it should just be shared amongst your household, you know, like amongst like your small group. So many like good things come from it that I often just want to be encouraging to like go make a movie. That you don't even need to post it, but just go have fun doing it. Don't think it's going to pay your bills or change your life, but you still will be happy that you did it.
Yep.
And don't do it thinking I should max out my credit card. Like, we don't live in that world anymore. That's what's cool about the technology. Like, you can make a good looking movie, not through AI, but, like, through actually engaging with the real world and with real people and make something that feels fun and cool and is a cool experience for you. And then for the people who are, you know, also imagining, dreaming about it being a career, you know, a life pursuit in that way. And our at those earlier stages or at any stage really, but where they're once again sort of feeling these blocks or these challenges or the uphill battle. It's not that the uphill battle is going to go away. It's always climbing a mountain to make a movie. People climb mountains for fun. Like, people go climb Mount Everest for no reason except just to, like, enjoy doing it. Um, but the thing I like about how I make movies and with so little is that it sort of proves all these things that you don't actually need. You do not like, I don't need a script. I don't need a sound guy with a boom pole. I don't need a first AD. I don't need a schedule. I don't need to storyboard. I don't need like a hair and makeup. I don't need a art department. Like, it doesn't mean that we don't value those people when they're needed, but you don't need them just to make a movie. And so as you're conceiving your film and if you're feeling frustrated that you can't just go make something, I
Yeah.
want you to question all the stuff that you're told you need just to make because you very much might not. To try doing it without it and then finding out that you actually do need it. That's why it's like keep the stakes low so it's okay that you fail. But if you test this theory that like what happens if I don't have that stuff and it still works, like you are then, you know, now you're a superhero because you can do this thing without all this you can jump out of a plane without a parachute. How freeing is that? How liberating.
Those are brilliant last words for this, and we did hit a 32-minute mark, except I feel like I just wanna hear what you shot on, what you edit with, and how you do your score, because if you don't have money, but you've got this excellent, sound design and score, how did you pull that off?
Um, I so I very much believe, like, everyone is creative, and if you simplify, you can you can become like a razor. You can, like, become like a slicing razor, it's like, it doesn't need to be a big thing ever. So like, what that means is I'm using, like, basically nothing. I'm shooting on a hacked 5D Mark III. This is just the camera I've owned since 2012. It shoots 1080 only. The hack allows it to shoot RAW, which means more colored depth for the color grade, but it's like, it's not necessary. Obex, we shot on the same camera, and we didn't use the hack. It was just normal 5D. It's like, again, that's good enough, and good enough is still good. I'm doing sound, they're just wearing Sennheiser G3 lavs running into a Zoom H4n that I've owned since 2012. Just the original one, that like the crappy one we all bought for like $350 in 2011. And I just monitored it with earbuds. You don't have to ride levels. You just had to make sure it's not peaking. I'm editing in Premiere Pro on a MacBook Pro. The way I do music is, so I when I started my journey, my filmmaking journey, I was doing a lot of music stuff. I loved music. Music was my identity, going to shows. I had a band in high school, I had a band in college. I had a music blog in the early aughts, during that era.
You're totally confirming my theory that good directors have good musical taste and are
Mm.
musical. I think that they're very connected, the 2 art forms.
And so I have all these friends, these musician friends that I have collaborated with, made music videos with. And it's really fun to get to do that step of the process with them. But like the first feature we made, we just did the score ourselves, me and my co-director, Andrea Sisson. And she's very creative. She's not necessarily like a trained musician. I'm also not a trained musician, but if you just like simplify, like a score can just be like the sound of like, like if you actually committed to that and you did your whole score as like tapping on a coffee mug, like that
Yeah,
actually would be completely sick. As
yeah,
opposed to, like, it doesn't need to be orchestral, it doesn't need to be any of those things, and, like, nothing needs to be anything, you just need to kinda, like, be creative, engage, think about, like, what it means, like, what does that mean for the score to be a tapping on a coffee mug? Hopefully, there's some connection to the movie, like, hopefully, it's about, like, an office worker who's, like, addicted to caffeine or whatever, and, like, okay, that's an amazing idea, but also it could be something equally simple. So, like, yes, music and sound are one of the tools in your toolkit to tell a story, but it doesn't need to be John Williams. And often when it's trying to be, it sucks. When you're
yep,
trying to be something you're not, it feels bad. You don't really reach that. But if you just not even tried and you had gone your own direction, it becomes something way more interesting and exciting to me anyways, and I
yeah,
think to a lot of other people as well.
yeah, I love this. Incredible, incredible, and let's remind people they can see your new film, Erupcja?
Erupcja.
Erupcja on April 11th and 12th, and how else? What else how can people follow you, find you, see your movies?
So it's screening at New Directors, New Films, April 11th and 12th in New York. It's also gonna start coming out in theaters the following week.
Great.
It'll be in LA and New York that weekend and we'll be in Chicago on April 24th. And just like that's certainly the biggest, release rollout of any of my films so far, which is very exciting. I was just
Super
looking at the website of where it starts to list like the theaters that it's going to. It's like coming to Columbus, Ohio. It's coming to Oklahoma City and Tulsa and Minneapolis and all these places. Just like somehow it got into a bunch of AMC theaters, which is cool. Especially just
great.
considering it's like, yes, it has Charlie in it, but it's also a movie shot on a hacked 5D Mark III. So it's something about it's like really funny to me, but also cool and exciting.
Excellent and cool and exciting. Thank you so much, and we all can't wait for this movie to come out and share it with everyone.
Thanks for talking.